So after recently taking my Ronin S with me on a trip to Indonesia and only using it once, because it was such a hassle to set up, pack down, set up, pack down, I was on the lookout for a new gimbal that could be used for travel use. It didn't need to hold a huge load, but I wanted it to be super compact and efficient to set up and use. Cue the weebill-s. So the weebill-s is the newest gimbal from Zhiyun with some beefy upgrades from the previous version that has taken this gimbal to a new league. So far, this has solved all the issues I was having while traveling with the Ronin S. The biggest downfall to small gimbals is the fact that they lack compatibility with common camera setups due to the strength of the motors. However, the weebill-s has had a 300% increase in motor torque, which has meant that you can use it on bigger DSLRs with some serious lenses and have little to no issues with balancing or clearance. Now, cleverly, Zhiyun hasn't said it can hold a certain payload, and I think this is a very clever marketing tactic indeed. This is because some gimbals technically could hold the weight of some camera setups, but because the gimbal's arms get in the way, it actually isn't compatible with the gimbal itself. So Zhiyun has removed this confusion by having a compatibility list that lets you know what cameras and lens combos work with the weebill-s. Now, first when I heard about this gimbal, I wanted to try it out straight away, mainly because of how small it was and the weight that it could hold. When I first took it out of the box, I slapped my camera on it and it wasn't actually all that smooth. It did take a bit of tweaking with all the settings and the menus to get it to where I'm pretty happy with it now. However, in comparison to the Ronin S, it is nowhere near as smooth, but it does a pretty decent job of stabilizing your footage, and this is exactly what I wanted to do. It didn't have to be the perfect gimbal, but I wanted to be a good compromise between small, lightweight, easy to set up, and perform pretty well as well. One of the things that annoyed me about it is the fact that its default mode is PF mode or pan follow mode, which is where the gimbal locks onto the horizon and will only pan when you're moving it left and right, not up and down. Coming from a Ronin S, I very rarely use this mode, so having it as a default was a bit of a pain. And to make things worse, if you wanted to enter follow mode, which is the default on the Ronin S, you have to hold down the button on the front, which makes it even more annoying. Until I found out that you can actually set up the keys to be a click instead of a hold in the menus, which allow you to just click the trigger to enter follow mode, which is the mode I use for most of my shooting. To do this, you press down on the dial, then scroll down to key functions, and then in here you can set up to be a hold or a click. The ability to swap over the tripod legs to be a handle for going underslung is an absolute game changer. You would not believe how much I actually use this every time I use this gimbal, and I did not think that it was going to be a big selling point for me at first. Shooting underslung is one of the comfiest ways to shoot, and it also allows you to get some way smoother footage as gravity is helping you with the bumps that naturally happen when you walk when you're holding it underslung. Being able to change settings straight from the gimbal itself is not the easiest thing to do, but it is nice to be able to have the option in case you are stuck on the field without a phone. You can still adjust your settings. The 2-in-1 quick release system is one of the best parts of the gimbal, and technically it's not even a feature of the gimbal itself. One of the big issues with gimbals is that you have to always rebalance it every time you take your camera off and then put it back on, which can be a bit of a pain when you're always swapping from handheld to smooth gimbal shots. Being able to split the quick release plate in half and keep all your settings is an amazing idea, and another reason why I wanted to get this for travel. This means that I don't have to keep rebalancing the gimbal every time I want to swap from handheld vlogging to smooth B-roll sequences. The axis locks make it super easy to balance, as you can focus on just one axis at a time, And for those that are new to setting up gimbals, this will help you immensely learning the basics. But it also means that when you pack it down and throw it in your bag or on your bag, you don't have to worry about gimbal arms flailing around everywhere and hitting you in the head. The focus wheel for me is a bit of a gimmick and something that I don't really use, but it is something that I'd like to test out in the future and see how good it really is. The weebill-s is juiced off two 18650 batteries and it gives you 14 hours of runtime, which is plenty for a short holiday or some pretty hardcore shooting days. And because they aren't built in, if you do run out of power, you can just swap them out and keep going. Now, there aren't really any cons to this gimbal, to be honest, apart from maybe the build quality. It does feel a little bit cheap because of the part plastic construction. But aside from that, it is an absolute beast. I have absolutely loved using it over the past few weeks, and I actually plan to integrate it into my commercial workflow a bit more as well when I need to use a smaller camera or a smaller gimbal. So if you're in the market for an electronic gimbal and you want something very compact that can also carry a pretty hefty load, then I would highly recommend checking out the Zhiyun Weebill-s. If you want to find out more, then I'll leave links below. Otherwise, stay creative, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.